कि आपने वीए करा है, वर्नेबिलिटी असेसमेंट में आपको बता रहा है कि क्रिटिकल बग है, राइट?
हाँ
ओके, तो
हाँ,
आपने किस लाइक कौन सा टूल यूज करा था
ये अपना बबसूट से
असेसमेंट के लिए? अरे बर्डसूट
जी।
फॉल्स पॉजिटिव देता है, मत करना।
सब तो
सर
वेब एप्लीकेशन में तो सर यही हम लोग यूज करते हैं।
नहीं, वीए में आप जब कर रहे हो ना वर्कशॉप, वो आपको मेजॉरिटी टाइम आपको फॉल्स पॉजिटिव ही देगा। मैनुअल, या इट्स इन इंग्लिश, ही वाज आस्किंग द क्वेश्चंस इन हिंदी, दैट्स द रीजन। या होल
सर
सेशन।
मैनुअली
हाँ हाँ।
सर मैनुअली बग हंटिंग करने में बेटर रहता है या टूल को यूज करके बेटर रहता है?
मैनुअली, बट ऑटोमेशन से निकलता भी है, लाइक डिपेंड्स कि आपके एक्सपर्टीज कैसे हैं।
सर मैंने जब टूल के यूज करता तो मेरा सर 4-5 बग और डुप्लीकेट चला गया।
हाँ हाँ।
और वो भी सर मतलब P2
राइट।
P1 P2
ओके।
P3 का बग मतलब डुप्लीकेट चला गया।
हाँ, तो डुप्लीकेट जाएगा ना, इतने सारे लोग यूज कर रहे हैं टूल्स, आप भी यूज कर रहे
यस।
हो सेम।
यस सर।
I think, guys, we will start now. So before
यस
we
सर।
start, a quick introduction about our today's speaker. So guys, a small request from my side. So now we will be starting the session, and what I want from you guys is the whole session would be in English, and hopefully we are recording it. So you can after the session you may watch it on our YouTube channel. But there are quick guideline for this session. Uh, During the session, please don't unmute yourself. Please don't unmute yourself. Don't switch on your cameras. Right? If you have any queries at the end of the session, we will be taking all your queries. So yeah, please mute yourself and switch off all your cameras. Channel name is Bug Bounty Brigade. So yeah, we will start. So today's speaker is Agnibha Dutta, aka known as Anonymous Yogi. So he is actually a medical student pursuing MBBS, and he's a cybersecurity enthusiast as bug bounty hunter. He has secured over 30 companies, and he is now doing contract as a security analyst. So further ado, I would like Anonymous Yogi to take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm thankful to the authority for giving me this opportunity so that I can take up the sessions. It's been a pleasure for me to give the sessions now. So, today's topic that we're gonna learn and we're gonna discuss is information disclosure. So, when you're talking about the information disclosure, it's one of the very important aspects of bug bounty. Like you can say, it's a really essential part of the reconciliation, and information disclosure bugs gives you a lot of henchbacks and a lot of hands when you are doing bug bounties. So we'll be seeing how you can hunt for easy wins of information disclosure bugs and what are the techniques that you can use to find information disclosure bugs. Generally, one thing I also want to specify before sharing my screen and showing all the live extent is that information disclosure, whatever you get, is generally come under the recon part or the information gathering part about our target. So when we are talking about finding information disclosure box, the first thing that we need to go over is to find more and more information about our target. We need to use all of our tools or whatever we can do or whatever is there in our arsenal or in our hand. We need to deploy everything to get more and more information so that we can share it and we can ultimately get something out from our target side or our target program, whatever we can find juicy. So without wasting further more time, I am just directly sharing my screen and let me show you how we can just proceed with all this. So Okay, I hope you guys can see my browser. So, first of all, let's pick up a target. So we'll just go to Hackathon and look some for some programs which are there. Okay, so and let's take some any juicy programs. So I will just let's take programs like Sony. That will be something important. I So Sony is quite a large program. So I am taking Sony as of it. Later we can move to some other programs and can take some other example. So this is the page of Sony, and the first thing that we need to check is the scope. So whenever we going to the scope, we need to see what are what is there in the scope. So you can see it's written security vulnerability that are identified in Sony products or in website domain or owned, operated and controlled by Sony. So anything which is related to Sony, whether it's a particular website or a API or whatever is out there, or things which can acquired by the Sony company itself, or the domains or sites which are eventually acquired by Sony, that also come under our scope. So from this we can come to a conclusion. This is really a large scope target for us, and there will be a lot of endpoints where we can actually go deeper and hunt into it. Right. So first of all, we need to check what are the ways we can find. So first of all, I'll be just going for through some of the subdomains. So basically, to check some of the subdomains, we can just use any command line tools, of course. But here we are looking for our topic is information disclosure bugs. So I won't be showing any. I won't be using any CLI tools or any command line tools to get at the subdomain. Since we are looking for directly information disclosure bugs, I will just look at what are the subdomains are there, and by going through overlook of all of the subdomains, we'll just choose on the basis of randomly which is the juicy one, and we will try to find out what's there underneath. So I will use this particular site, and then I can just type pony.com, and if I start the scan, we'll get all of the subdomain related to Sony. So yeah, it's quite a big list as we can see, right? So manually I will be taking some of the sites. So let's check. Like this is a particular site I can we can see, right? And it's being loaded. So we'll just let it load as it is. Uh, in the meantime, let it load. We can try some other site, like we can try the API site, or maybe we can go and try something one which is admin test some is there. So we can try to check this one too. Uh, One thing also we can check here by clicking on the check status. This will give which of the subdomains are alive. Like if you just click on this check, this is saying it's probably open. So this is something which we can use to check which of the subdomains are actually up. Or another way we can check through browser is by typing the statuscode.io or http status.io. So this is also another website. I think it's taking a lot of time to load. Oh, let me just close the browser once and just let me start it once again. Because maybe there it's being slow due to some of my network. Okay, now it's being loaded. So one thing we can see when we click on the site, we can see there is nothing. So it must be 200. So the site has been loaded, but we don't see any content. So let's see Control U and let's check if anything is there in the background of this site. Now, whenever we get this type of site, like we can't see the content of it, there are few things that we need to follow. Like this is one of the giving you the way that you can go and search for directories and search for hidden files. So because on the front there is no content, so we have to go and first deeper into the this particular site for checking for whether any directories are there or without any files are there. So this is some of the thing that you need to keep in your mind whenever you will come across a site like this. And also one another thing, whenever we will keep a site like this, we need to check the certificate and to check under which SSL certificate this essentially belong to. So I just get down the more information. It's common name when, but the test is same and DNS name is also same. Okay, so we don't get too much information, but we can one thing we have ensured that it is from Amazon or maybe so as we can see there is something from Amazon. It was there, so there may be a chance that there is something S3 bucket is being there or S3 bucket is lying under this particular site. So one thing we came in our hand that in this particular site we can also take notes that we have to check for and look for S3 bucket if S3 bucket is hidden in this site or not. So I don't know. um, I don't know why these are not working. Anyway, so like now we can see the site which is running. So let me just load the site once again and let me check if something is going on here or not. Okay, so there is nothing going on, so we can just move on and look for next any other site which is actually occurring properly, or we can just go and check the main site like the acmigo.com. Just wait for a minute. Maybe this site is loading or there is something which is down. So this is also checking or taking a lot of time to respond. So maybe some network problem is, or maybe this site is down. Okay, that's not a problem. We can take any other site. Okay, till let it all the site load, and we will just go and look for what are the other ways we can actually find information disclosure bugs. So one of the ways we can see is by the GitHub. Uh, there is again some kind of problem going on in GitHub. Mm. Maybe there is a new window. I am just check. Just maybe site is taking too much time to load. There is some kind of problem I am facing in my network. Just a minute, guys. I am facing some problem in my network. Let me uh, just a minute. Okay, so we have opened the GitHub, and what are the ways we can search in GitHub for leaks? So we can just search like here, puni.com, and we can go and check for the repositories. So here in the left side, we will see how many number of codes or how many number of repositories are there. So you can see there is 112 repositories, and there are some other codes. So from here, we need to find out what we can actually get. Now we need to filter out. So if we want to look for any password which is there related, we can search sony.com, and then we can click on password. And right now we can't see, so we just go on the code and check if any can password can be there. So you can see there is some email we have got on this particular. And so if we just go and click on this particular repository, let's search for where we have got the at that sony.com. So we can see we have an email, and we can go and check further like what is exactly this repository is. So this is some first login contributor. So this is not again sensitive. So we need to go and check more and more ways. Okay, so we have got some kind of password, I guess. This is most probably hash. Just so which was we got. Okay, so is it anything related to Sony? I don't know. I need to check. So what is this? It's saying so. This is a network belong to China that we can confirm, and there is some IP CIDR range, and there is something Sony is written, and there are three matches of Sony. So there is might be it's belong to Sony Entertainment, or might be this domain service belong to Sony.com. Okay, it might be informational to us. We are not sure whether it really belong to Sony, but still, we can see there are a lot of password, and I most probably these are all hash. So we can try to crack this hash. Um, so I will check if it's MD5 or not. So okay, so it's not going to go to crack session to crack it. Now we have to scan check here. So it's not recognized. Okay, or maybe it's not hash actually. Maybe it's directly a password. It can happen. I am not sure. Maybe it's directly password. Not it's not a
Is
hash.
it base 64, right?
Base 64. Base
Yeah.
64. If it's a base 64, there will be some equal. There's some. It can be some double equal to at the end. Let me check also. No, it's not base 64. you can actually understand whether some hash is base 64 or not by there will be equal to or double equal to at the end. Maybe it's password in the direct format or there is some kind of AES 256 mechanism. Anyway, we still have got some information which will be juicy, and still we have some IP range here as well. So this is something interesting to us, and we can what we can do, whether it's a directly sensitive endpoint or not, whether this repository belong to any of the any of the network or any of the owners of Sony, we can report it to the Sony bug bounty program. And if it's not, then if it's related, then you will get something, and if it's not, then they will tell you that yeah, that it is not related. But this type of data are something very confusable and present on the gray side, because you are not sure whether this is really owned by Sony or not. One thing we can obviously check, like who is the actually the person, or whose repository is this. So this is something like for change. So we can change this. Achha, this is committed by this person. So I most probably this is the person who have actually repositories, and this is one of the commit. So change first. If we just go to his profile, we are not sure whether he's the employee of Sony or not. Anyway, but still we can report and confirm whether it belongs to Sony or not. So this is one of the way. Some of the cool techniques that I need to show you to get this type of jobs much faster is you can go here and click on, sorry, this is not the one. I think this has been, just a wait. What is the new repositories now? Just a wait. Uh, even so this one is not there in this part. Okay, I will show you some in other, like where we can actually check the recent changes which are there on it. Another thing, we can not only we can check for PAWSSWORT, we can also check with other syntax like PASS pass. Can check like this. We can, and therefore we can check what are the, this is some other kind of, this is, there is another some thing belong to maybe Sony, and then we have to find like what is actually being there, or we can check through Sony.com password like this, and here we just type PASSWD instead of PSSWD because it can be saved in any of the format. Not arguably there will be one format. It can, anyone can represent there. So there is something like passport, and there is something password is there. Maybe this is some, again this belongs to that particular one, so this is not important. And here we have got something, no, this is also not important, but this is the way you can go and actually check for what are the ways. So not only that, apart from password, we can also see other type of file. We can check for environmental file by typing env and check if there is an environmental file of Sony is there. Or not only by typing sony.com like this, we can type docs, like we get creative, we can type org, and we can type orgs organization Sony, and then we are typing, let's suppose we are looking for some kind of APIs. So this is something again which can be very much important, and we can see something like this. So here we got a little bit creative, and we use doc like org is to Sony, and then followed by the APIs. So let's see if I can get any particular API or not. And so this is belong to Sony, you can understand. So there is something utility. So there is some algorithm. This belong to Sony, you can understand. because its logo is there. So it's some kind of libraries. So what you need to do, you need to go through all of the file that is present here and check for any sensitive API keys. And if you gain any API keys, then you can directly check through nuclei whether that API key is valid or not. I am not showing that to you because I just told you, and you can do that for yourself, I guess. And not only like that, you can see there is something other tools there. We can not only API keys, we can also search and for loop files like for the AWS, we can notice. And we can check if there is some kind of any API keys or not. AWS keys there. Let's see if anything is there. No, it's directly redirecting us to Amazon, so there is nothing. So let's see if anything there is the JSON file, because one thing again, JSON files are remain very sensitive, so we can check for anything out there in JSON file itself. And then we can see this is a Sony Corporation. There is some version is there, but not again any API keys are being out there, right? So again, we can't go like this. And this is something again, this is the advanced search option where you can actually add some created on the dates if you know some particular dates option. And like if you have type Sony, and after that if you know, like if you can say that there is something updated in Sony or not, or if you want to look for any personal repository, then you can check name the owner, give the name of the owner, and also what you want to file. Like if you want to find something like some bash file or some Ruby file you want to search, then you can search Ruby. Here you can search if the owner is someone like say ABC person, you can just name it, and here you can mention any type of date. So this is the advanced search option of the GitHub. This you can also use to find some deep informational bugs, or if you want to make your search more handy, then you can use this. But that is for some advanced users. We can just stick to normal using of GitHub to look for any potential searches. Okay, so in this way you have to go, not only that, and you have to just check all the other pages. So you have to actually check all of the pages, and you have to go through each of this particular repository to check for any particular leakage. So you can see there is some AWS S3 is there, right? So this can be something important to us. Or you can see there are some other repositories name also totally told here. So we can also use a repo like this, and then we can give the name of a particular repository. Then we can also find. And not only that, we can also find some other information. So let me give you all some other important docs that we can actually go and look for it. So just to wait. Let me, so if we just go back to the file, and here we can just go. One thing we can also look for config file like this and check if any configuration. So this is something a configuration file. So sometimes configuration files are also important. Why? Because configuration files helps you in giving some internal configuration, maybe the source code of a particular site. Maybe we can get the source code of Sony itself. So sometimes we need to check all the what type of configuration file we get, and we need to check the code. Like if the configuration file we have got is actually leaking some of the internal backend code of Sony. or the target site. So don't forget to search config. Also, you need to search other variables like I told you about the environmentals. One thing, a lot of site have acquisition, like you have your target site is target.com, and it might have any Atlassian, Okta, or Jira dashboard, and you can actually get all of their password. Sorry, you can actually get some important details, maybe the admin credential or any type of user credential of those particular dashboards. So you can actually search like this, like sony.okta.net. Then you can look for password. So Sony does not have any Okta, that's why we don't get anything. But had Sony had any Okta.com, then we would have got something. You can search for Sony dot let's and then if there is any Atlassian.com, now it's showing zero because there is not Atlassian or Okta dashboard or Jira dashboard of Sony, but a lot of your target site will have. And whenever you will get, you will might get some result, and you have to go and check for repositories in each of the result that you have got. So don't forget to look for target dot. So the thing that we have to look is target dot Atlassian.com, like whatever your target.com is there, or then you can use any particular keyword like password or whatever. So not only that, another thing that you can use is target.ukta.com followed by the doc you want to use your particular doc. Also target.jira. So this is something you need to understand and take in your hand, and then followed by the your doc name. This is something don't forget to search on this, right? Another thing that we can actually find, like, so if we just type, let's say org is to Nokia, we are directly getting the repositories of Nokia. So we can search for password here also, right? And we may get something. But we can actually look for some of the employees that might present in the of who might belong to the this particular company. So we can actually go and check for user. So there is no user right there. But had users been there, we could have noticed for and check for users. And if you don't want to remember the all the docs, then you can list those out. And also one thing I am gonna say is you can look for this particular doc. This some might give you some juicy endpoints. So let me just copy the doc. And instead of target, I will give here can give Nokia. We don't get anything, but we can also give if there's some other site like Google. We might get something, and we can see that we have got drive.google, docs.google, and this is something we have got. So this is a checklist. Sorry, this is a might not important, but here we got something. See, for google.com we use there is some Google API token we have found for some particular organization maybe. No, this is the methodology related to Bug Bounty. Anyway, we didn't got anything. Mm, if we go to the repository, let's see what is this actually. Maybe this is something we have to can actually take a look on this deeper and understand what is exactly showing to us. But again, these are something actually you will get a lot. Now, you can or not only just code and the repository itself, you can also just go to the issues and you can check what are the newest issue that has been arrived. See, so there is some kind of course authentication is there. So you can check and look at the issues, and if the issue is not resolved, you can go and further exploit any of it. So this issues endpoint is actually very sensitive, and if any unresolved issue is there, it will be a chance for you to exploit, and you can directly report this to the particular target authority. So you can also check and look for the pull request. So I will take another site. So what happened? It's just giving page not found. Let's let this site to load. Okay, so it's been loaded. So this is some repositories there right here. Again, we can just go and we can create a we can check for each. So this is the way you can actually look for. This is another target I have choose, and here target I will show you. If you want to choose something based on XML, you'll only get the repository which have content in XML. So XML content might have some important issues, or might have some important documents, or might have some sensitive information. You can check those out here. Not only that, not only for XML, uh, try to look for anything JSON or something in text format. Other format are not very important. Text and JSON format, you might will get something. So there is nothing here. So we'll just type. So we are not getting anything related to password. So anyway, so I have told you the what are the procedure to use. Now, not only for the GitHub docking, you can also do same thing in the google.com also. Like if our target is Tesla, we can type and look for spreadsheet. Why I'm looking for spreadsheet? Because it might, if any spreadsheet of this there will might give something juicy, but there is nothing related to spreadsheet. So we will just give PDF and see. So it is just, and here we are just giving PDF. You will get all the PDF that related to Tesla are out there. So here, by going through all of this particular result that we have got, we can look for any important PDF is out there. This is some general PDF. So if we can type something like hidden. So we can go and check. Now, whenever you will get a PDF like this, actually your scope again get increased, and you can actually go and fuzz these particular directories. Like you can see that the site is tesla.com site default files, right? Then is the PDF. So what you can do, you can fuzz after the files word, or you can fuzz after the site, and you might get something interesting, or you might get something which is sensitive. So this is another thing that you need to keep in mind. Like what are the endpoint that actually you can look for while doing fuzzing and look for information disclosure. Now, if we want to do the Google docking thing automatically or without remembering all of the docs, we can use this particular site known as docs.faisal.me. So it's just taking some time to load. Now, this is the site which we can use to check our target domain and look for something. So if our target domain is, let's see, let's give our target domain as .com, and if you just click check for directory listing vulnerabilities, there's nothing, but you can see the dot automatically get added at the end. Check for expose configuration file. So there is the sitemap file we have got. You can see that already the doc has got added at the end. So we don't need to type the doc manually. It's already helping us. And you can see the sitemap is here. So anyway, sitemap is not much sensitive. But if there was something, we would have got. So this will show if anything database is exposed. For it not, if any WordPress sites are there, you can see there is something actually there maybe. This is a WordPress site and some contents and something has been uploaded. Though this PDF is empty. So let's go back and let's see if this is something. And we have got our JSON endpoint. So this is very actually this might turn out juicy. And I am not going diving deep into this code as it may leak some vulnerable it may leak some important details right in the stream. So I am skipping it. I am not going deep into and reading all of this out, but you can do it on your end. So I am just clicking back. But this was an important endpoint we have found through Google Docking, and it might could leak some important issue. So this is a normal PDF, again not very much important. So you can have to go and check all of the directories, like or whatever all the result will be there, and you may get some important files. So we have checked for files. If we can check for backup and old files, we can also go and check. So there is no result. Check for expose log file. So there is no log file. We can check, you can go and check all of this for the whole checklist, like publicly exposed document. You can see there might be some publicly exposed document, and in the publicly exposed document they might have, if a company is has not cared much about their documents, they might have leaked any private documents in the public domain. So with the help of these docs all we have got, we can actually find any document which needed not to be there out in the web might have been leaked. So let's check this. So this is not found again, but we can look all of the result and check if there is important such documents are there. So we can also access some important file. One thing here, we can also get some employees on LinkedIn. And after getting the name of the employees on LinkedIn, what we can actually do is like how we can use LinkedIn to in our advantage of bug bounty. Let me show you one thing. So you can see this is the company. So we can see there are three of my connection is already following, and there might be some people who are related to this particular company. So what we can actually do is we can check who are the people who is working for this company, and then we can check that those people's repository in GitHub. Like after getting who are the employees of the particular company, we'll check repository of those particular people in GitHub, and then we might get something internal information or any admin IP or any password related to it. And in my actually experience, I have got this type of things, bugs in hackathon in some in one or two programs. So that's why I'm telling it. Use LinkedIn or any other social media sites to look for employees of a particular company. So LinkedIn is taking too much time, so I'm just closing it. But remember this fact: always look for the employees and check their repositories out in the GitHub. This is a large thing. I have seen most of the hunters or most of the bug bounty hunters don't follow, or this thing doesn't come in their mind. So this is something you can use. And let me check some other thing too. What are the other thing that we can go? Oh, one thing we can also check in the cloud storage space. Like we can check something like this, followed by your target. This will give any S3 bucket on Amazon. So you can see we directly got some S3 buckets. Now what we can find vulnerability in these S3 buckets. See, we have got lot of result of S3 buckets related to it. Now we can also try to find vulnerability in any of it. Not only that, we can also search for other cloud storage services. Uh, Instead of S3, we can check for Windows.net, Windows services, and then we can check this related to Hilton, and then we can look for also takeover or any vulnerabilities in these cloud services. Not only for this, we can also check for Google APIs. So, and there might we get some kind of, I am not opening any of the site because it might leak something. So I am not taking the risk to show any of this out in the web, as I might fall in some legal trouble. I am not disclosing any bug on out web. But if you can open all of this, you might get something juicy, or you might get some important API endpoint, or you might get some API key leaked. So these are something you need to follow. Also try drive google.com, and you can see there are a lot of drive we have actually got. So this is the some important tricks I have shown that people I have not seen much follow while doing Google dorking or GitHub dorking. Okay, now another for information disclosure to look out where we can get some information is the Shodan. Shodan is a very powerful tool, like is a very powerful search engine where we can get a lot of things to find about information disclosure bugs. Let me show what actually you can try to follow. So you can type something like organization. We will get a lot of IPs related to Sony. So we can see there is also some We can also see this might be redirected to something. And if we want to use any kind of docs here to, like, this is our site. Let's see if it is redirecting to anywhere. No, it's not redirecting, but we want organization to just remain Sony Global Inc. Then we can just go and type this. And if we want to find the Cisco systems, because why I'm looking for Cisco systems, because there is a chance for Cisco SXSS, Cisco's cross-site scripting. So we can look for any Cisco router of Sony which has a public web page. Ultimately, they don't have, so we can just go and look for, click on more, and what we can try to see is facet analysis. So we can check for HTTP title and look for the results. So facet analysis is another important aspect. We may got get something like this. This one, let me check. So this is something Sony Global INC. Let me see what it is there. So this is a Cisco VPN login page. So we can try for actually Cisco VPN XSS in this page. So this is some important result we have got from it, right? If we just check the second one, this is also same, I guess. No, this both IPs are different. So we can anyway, but they are in the same network range. So I am not going to check because it will land the same. So we can also change and look for things like the HTTP FAPCON hash, and we can check out the result. We have got two results. They are mostly the same. So if we just change this, and then we have got a lot of result, right? And so if I just want to add something, so here I am just adding whatever HTTP dot title here. Instead of doing this, we're not getting anything. So one thing other, we can look for any port number, particular port number like SQL port number or port number 21. Port number 21 is important because if any one of these has port number 21 open, and if any one of these services has anonymous login allowed, then it will be a vulnerability, and then it will be actually an important edge case vulnerability of information disclosure, right? So we might get information from this. So we can go and check each of these IPs and look for our potential target. We have to use all of these IPs and search like in our terminal. So we can just copy this IP. Let's suppose this and check. Let's copy. Sorry, I just copy this and let me just show you. Just let me just share the screen. So you can see I have tried to log in, and we can see it's asking for a user. So I will just type. For here, we don't get the login incorrect. But had we got the login correct, then it would have allowed the anonymous login. So that is something also important. And we can check for any open FTP server here with the help of the student. And this will give us some important, it might give us some important information, right? So we need to take care and we need to keep this or need to remember this in our arsenal. So not only this, we also have a actually automation like we don't need to remember all of the docs of Shodan. There is actually a very good site to remember the Shodan docs, and that is let me just this is the site, and you have to just type the name of your target site, and after that you can just click on each of this, and they will check for if that particular thing is there. So we want to check if Jenkins unrestricted dashboard is there for Sony. So it's not there. We can check for control panel, not there. You can check for PHP my admin. So this is not there. So let me just change this to Hilton. We can also check for some CVs and check if any CV related server are out there or not. So it's not there. So let's check for dashboard. Yeah, for Hilton there are two dashboards out there. You can see. I don't want to open this. It might give something. So like find all Jenkins server. So there is no Jenkins servers are there. Find secret API keys publicly exposed. Again, this not result found, but for your target, you might get something. Even there are docs for checking log4j, Jenkins CI, big 5 IPs, all of this. So this is a very important particular site that you can use to for Shodan dorking, and it really give you a hell lot of path to look for any information or important pieces that you can might get a bug on, right? So this is also very much important. Now another sites or some other ways we can look for is extracting information through different types of URLs, right? So we can search for, so the URL is this, and after the star dot we can give our target. Let's give for Hilton, and just wait, and we'll get all of the URLs or the endpoints related to this particular site. So you can see there are a lot of URLs. This is just like same as you get your list of URLs from webback URL or gov. This is just the GUI of where we are using web.archive.org to get all of the URLs. Now here you can potentially look for some specific keywords, right? So what are the keywords that we can actually look for here? So, uh, my site is just loading once again. Let's just wait. Let me just close this once again, and then we will just let me reshare the screen. Just a minute. Yeah. So now we have got. Let this site load completely. Yeah. So now we can find. You can see there is a search page. We can do by Control F, and we can look for the juicy parameters which are out there. Right. So how we can do this? We can search for spreadsheet. There is no spreadsheet. We can check for drive. There is drive.jpg is there, so it's a image. But we'll look for drive.google.com actually. So this is not there here. But if it was there, we would have might have got something interesting. Again, we can look for some other. We may look for some important other pieces like we can look for docs.google because docs are also very important. So this is something docs file we have seen. We actually check it out. So this is nothing. But here we can also look for some other important files like kind of what are the XML files are there. So this is something which is in the form of XML format, and there are a lot of files. One thing we can also notice that we have got some URL equal to something, right? So here we can also look for some important bugs like we can change this URL to bug collaborator, and we can also look for SSRF kind of bugs, and also we can look for open redirect or define other kinds of bugs because we have got the endpoint is /URL equal to. So this is actually a pattern for looking open redirect or SSRF or any other kind of bug. So this is something actually you get to broaden your scope also. Not only you get just two or three bugs. We can search for API key related anything is there. So this is some session ID. One thing we have got some session ID. So what we can do, we can check all of the session ID one by one. Now this is not found, but now we can see there are a lot of session IDs are there. See, so we can check if any of this particular session ID is still active, and any of this session ID had been still active till now, then it would be a critical bug because this session ID belong to someone who has account on hilton.com, right? So all the session IDs are leaked here. Now some of them might not be active, but if any one out of all this might active, then it will be a very critical bug. So this is something very important we have got here, and we need to check all of this by putting. We can how now you one of you might be thinking how we can check which of this is maybe active. So you can copy all of this URL and pass through HTTPX tool to check for which of this particular URL is active. So therefore we can actually get a very critical P1 level bug. So this is there is some URL IDs out there. So this if this will be active, then it is also be very critical. Okay, so this is how you can look for this type of things out there. Another thing I would like to show you. Let me just check one thing. So hmm. So I hope you can see my terminal. And from terminal, what we can do, we can collect the JavaScript JSF file. We can do the JS recon or JavaScript recon to look for any important JavaScript things which are out there. So we can collect all of our files, like we can collect gov.gov.hilton.com, and after that we can actually grep application slash javascript, then t something output.txt. Now if we hit enter, we will get all of the javascript file that belong to the gov hilton or to hilton.com will be separated, and then we can take all of this javascript file to look for potential vulnerabilities. So we are hitting enter, but I am not running this particular command because it will take a lot of time. So right now I am just showing you what command you can use. Not only this, you can also just type grep.js, t output.txt. This will also grep out all the JS file. And after getting all the JS file, what you can do, you can look manually to them, or let's suppose you have this particular file where you have got the output, right? Then let's say what you can do, you can use nuclei tool to look for any particular things. Like how you can use this, let me show you the give you the command. So what we can use is basically nuclei minus t will give the templates. So I have my templates are there in the root folder. So and the exposures directory. Then you specify the file output.txt. That's the JavaScript endpoint file. Okay. And after hitting enter, you will get all of the nuclei. The nuclei will automatically search for if there are any important leaks like sensitive API keys or sensitive endpoint or sensitive admin point is out there in all those JavaScript files. So this is another takeaway that you can use. This is for JavaScript recon, and you might get some important information from out this. For JavaScript recon, another POC I would like to show you guys, that is the use of one tool known as Trufflehog. So let me show you. Let me come back and let me show you another tool. This is a Chrome extension. Also, it comes in the CLI version. If you are using Chrome, you can install this Trufflehog extension, and this will automatically detect any important files in JavaScript. Like I have this extension, so let me show you the how we can actually have this extension. So actually I have this extension Trufflehog. You can see this is the Trufflehog extension I have installed, and I will show you a POC of where actually I have used this Trufflehog extension to get P1 level bug. So let me show you the POC of it. Uh, Now you can see the POC. So this is the POC. Let me open it. So my target was this particular site, and I have my Trufflehog installed on my browser. So I just clicked on sign in, and as soon as the site got opened, we got a pop-up saying this is the API key. So I went and also it got the endpoint of the JavaScript file where this API key is stored. So I copied it and pasted it in the Prime browser, and I went and looked for the API key. You can see not only we have got the Circle C API key, we have also got some AWS account ID. We have also got some username. We have also got Circle C API name, and also we have got some AWS region secret access key. This is access ID key, AWS secret key. We also got the repository name. We also have got the Docker Hub password, Circle internal path, and we can have actually have got a hell lot of information through by using the Trafalog. See, so this is something. This is POC. This is one of my finding that I just got within 2 or 3 seconds after getting the target by just using this Trafalog API, the Trafalog extension. So yeah, you can try to use this particular thing once again. And there is another actually tool which you can use to automate to finding anything related to any important information which you want to get in JavaScript. So let me show you that tool too. There is the name of this tool is JSF Scan, which is by Kathan Desai. You can install this tool on your terminal, and also you can try to use this tool. This will be everything will be automatic, and not only that, you will get a nice report of all the findings that JSF scanners find in your target website. So that's it for our information disclosure methodology, and I'll be ending my session here. So if you guys have any doubt, you can ask me. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have understood whatever I told. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, Agnibha, for this amazing session. And such a short period of time you have turned up for the session. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining this session. If you have any queries, please type in the chat box regarding the recording. I hope we will upload it soon on the YouTube channel. And please ask your queries. And a small favor I want from your side is please tag the speaker and post it on the LinkedIn. Give the credit to the speaker. Like, see, these are the sessions which community, we all the community members come together, right? We want this session to it's our Bug Bounty Brigade session, right? Can you please summarize the tool which you have discussed? Uh, Agnibha, there was a question. Can you please summarize the tools which you have discussed?
Yeah, so the tools that I have potentially used are one is the Go for collecting all of the URLs, and then I have just used normal grep of Linux to find out. I have used the Trufflehog endpoint, so it's a Truffle Chrome extension to find out the leaks or secret files in JavaScript. The last tool that I have shown is the JSF scan, which is created by Kathan. And also for after collecting all of the URLs with the GAU, we can use nuclei to look for any sensitive exposures in it. So these are the tool I have used. Rest is just all sites I have just browsed onto.
Yeah, guys. So, guys, do us a favor, tag the speaker on the LinkedIn, give them credits, and if you guys want these sessions to continue, it will help us reach more and more people, and it is completely community driven. So, if you have any more queries, you may ask, is it possible to get false positive from